Gainax is a studio that is both very famous and acclaimed within the anime community for shows that were able to not only entertain viewers, but also inspire them. One notable aspect of their style is the high amount of energy and self-awareness that is found within many of their anime. It's especially noticeable in shows such as Fooly Cooly and Die Buster. Today I'll be talking about how specifically He Is My Master, Gainax's third collaboration with Shaft, makes use of high energy, as well as how it compares with their other works. When looking at He Is My Master, it is very apparent the show is trying to mimic the style that Gainax is known for, particularly with episode 4, which is clearly a tribute to the Brittle Bullet episode of Fooly Cooly. It includes the same gunslinging off-the-wall comedy, the same pop culture references, and instead of the man's eyebrows falling off, it's his hair. I think a major difference between what makes Fooly Cooly so well-known and so well-loved versus He Is My Master, which is less well-known and not very well-liked, is in its execution. While it's very clear that He Is My Master is trying to give people some of the aspects that we know and love from Gainax, it is also apparent that they are only giving audiences the superficial aspects without everything else. Yes, the energy is a lot of fun in Fooly Cooly, but that's not the only reason people watched it, nor is it the only reason people loved it. Fooly Cooly had a lot of clever themes in relation to puberty. It had likable characters people felt a connection with. It had more variety in the type of humor it used. He Is My Master is very much your typical ecchi comedy. The main cast all consists of tropey one-note characters in which any time their character attempts to make progression, it always ends up somehow resetting at the end of the episode. This may have been fine, as there are many Western cartoons that are enjoyable in spite of their use of the reset button. The problem with He Is My Master is that these characters and their traits aren't the least bit charming or likable. For example, the main male lead, Yoshitaka. He's a very perverted rich boy whose main intent within the show is to hire maids his age so he can get sexual stimulation out of them. But deep down, we are supposed to get the sense that he actually ends up caring for the two maids he takes in, Izumi and Mitsuki. The problem is, regardless of what he feels deep down, all we ever end up seeing are mean-spirited jokes and unlikable hijinks. Anytime we get any sort of hint that he might actually care for them, it's almost immediately followed with some perverted joke about how he's only in it for their bra or for their panties or whatever. The problems with the show become even more apparent when you look at the other characters. Izumi is intended to be the voice of reason within the show, but she plays way too much in the typical tsundere archetype of her actually deep down somewhat caring for the perverted Yoshitaka, so it makes her character seem a lot less reasonable as a result. Furthermore, she reacts violently to Yoshitaka's perverted antics all the time, and it gets very old very quickly, especially since that type of character is nothing new, and it's been in many shows both before and after He Is My Master. Izumi's sister, Mitsuki, is a bit different. She's more of the cutesy younger sister that ends up a lot of the time starting the silly hijinks that the characters eventually get into. She's a bit more likable than the other characters simply because I do think her conflict with her trying to let her parents keep a pet alligator, while extremely hokey, is the closest the show got to heartfelt. What makes this show worse is when you compare it to Gainax's other shows. Since I've been bringing up FLCL a lot, and that's where I feel it takes most of its energy from, I will talk about it again. You look at the series' main protagonist, Naota, and he's a lot more interesting than the other characters within this show. He's struggling with being able to grow up alongside the changes that come with it. His brother, Tasuku, left him to go to the United States and play baseball. Because of this, Tasuku's girlfriend, Mamimi, hangs around Naota as a means of catharsis, to get those sexual frustrations off her chest. As a result, Naota not only has to deal with her sexual frustrations, but also his as well. The characters all develop and their conflicts are fleshed out, so really, in spite of He Is My Master having the same energy, it lacks the heart, it lacks the emotional side that other Gainax shows have. Remember in regards to what I said earlier, that many Gainax shows are inspirational, but He Is My Master never really feels inspirational, and I think that's exactly why it falls flat at capturing the Gainax style. Their other shows were able to bring all the high energy that He Is My Master does bring, but also delivers so much more, and that's why people loved Gainax in their old shows. Even when you look at Hio's My Master as something that stands on its own, because of the unlikable characters, it just doesn't come off as funny, rather, it comes off as repetitive and trite.